Hello YouTube, today in this video I'm going to cover a topic that affects many of us. As you all may know, this labor market has been challenging since at least 2022. You can find content covering employment struggles across a variety of social media platforms. This past year, as I was scrolling around on YouTube, I came across a new form of content. You could almost call it doom content, because the recipe for each of these videos basically is for the commentator to post a contemplation of various videos from a variety of social media platforms, but mostly TikToks I noticed. Anyway, they usually last around 20 minutes, and the commentator will butt in every once in a while after someone finishes their rant to add their 2 cents about whatever social topic happens to be covered within that particular segment of the video. Dee's African Perspective and Jack Morgan are 2 of my personal favorite accounts in this genre of video making, so if you're interested, check them out. And let's make it clear, I'm not criticizing their hustle. I'm not ragging on any of these accounts. I think it's genius actually, and I'm not going to stop someone when they're grinding, producing content. I will say though that I can't watch too many of these videos because, frankly, they will start to get me depressed after a while. I'll listen to one every so often just to remind myself I'm not alone in this battle to live out our daily lives. While some of this may be chalked up to generational laziness and a lack of patience regarding advancement of one's career, I think the issues affecting our experience with the labor market go much deeper, and we need to ask ourselves, as a society, how do we fix this? First, in order to fix something, we have to acknowledge there is an issue in the first place and what that issue is. So let's analyze some of the main issues that are brought up when someone is complaining about the current job market. The job search has been digitized with the person-to-person element removed until the interview process. You are hardly asked to show up at the physical location and fill out a physical application anymore. In a way, it has made applying to a job much easier than before. However, it has also created other challenges for job seekers. To piggyback off of the first point, companies have been using AI to filter through resumes to determine whether that resume application can proceed forward or get tossed. This means that potentially no human looks at an application before it is removed from the running. This has alienated older applicants and applicants who feel they have the proper qualifications for the job, but perhaps don't know how to build a resume that can be accepted by an applicant tracking system. And another issue, and I'm going to go on a little rant here, but this underlying issue is the political disconnect between the people who are vying for the top decision maker positions in government and the frontline employees working to make a living each day. Do Biden, Trump, or Kamala have any idea how to actually resolve these specific issues? Like one comment I saw saying, it should be illegal to waste another human being's time with fake, meaningful job postings. I agree with that post, and I'll bet the vast majority of Americans will agree with that sentiment. A quick Google search reveals Biden has little to say about ghost jobs or the current labor market struggles. Well, kinda like everything else, I guess. I mean, let's consider Biden's personal experiences for a minute. Think about the fact that Biden was born in 1942 and turned 18 in 1960. He got his first job in the 1950s probably. He began his career in a completely different era. Traveling back to the future, also consider there's already controversy whether Biden's advisors are giving him a clear image of how Americans truly feel about what direction the country is headed. When one puts these two scenarios together, I just feel that whenever Biden or his administration is questioned about any job market difficulties, their responses are probably unsympathetic. Just simply imagine a cocky Biden doing his little leaning into the mic thing and whispering about some outdated grandfather advice that is important but doesn't actually mean or change anything in the grand scheme of things. One of the issues his advisors are missing the mark on is definitely ghost jobs. And well, this negligence by the government has led to job seekers having to contend with unethical business practices such as ghost jobs and excessive amounts of interviews and resume farming. I just want to add that while fake job listings obviously hurt workers, I believe it is an issue that stretches its poisonous tentacles across society. See, a large number of companies post these job listings to boost their company's image for the investors. Clarify Capital, a New York-based business loan provider, surveyed 1,000 hiring managers. One of their findings was that 40% of hiring managers surveyed said they list jobs they are actively trying to fill to give the impression that the company is growing. I don't know how this isn't considered defrauding investors. On YouTube at least, I've seen people on both the left and right of the political spectrum criticize this business practice. Why is insider trading demonized, and rightfully so, while another fraudulent business practice, ghost jobs, is allowed to continue? Why haven't companies considered what could happen if this practice continues? While it may make the numbers look better in the short term, what happens when the economy faces headwinds and starts negatively affecting the labor market? Will investors be able to truly trust the job numbers the company is posting? In other words, does the number of actual job postings correlate with its payroll numbers? Why would you leave up job postings when your company is actually in the process of mass layoffs? If investors can't trust the labor numbers each individual company is publishing, then that will create uncertainty within the stock market. And the stock market doesn't like uncertainty. This phenomenon, originally meant to boost a company's image and stock value, may actually adversely affect returns on stock market investments in the future. Now that we have looked at the implications for workers, companies, and the stock market, we should also consider the political implications. Naturally, it shouldn't come as no big surprise that the business-friendly conservatives have little to say. However, it is interesting that there was little spoken about labor market distress from the supposed party of the laborers. While this may be chalked up to the fact that the Dems also have valuable business interests that need to be courted, perhaps we should consider that rank-and-file Democrats may have been left in the dark about the true reality of what is going on the ground. Each month, the Democrats would boast about the robust labor market numbers being published each month. Then they would be puzzled when looking at the polls because they would discover the average American wasn't feeling the positive vibes. The media also deserves a little bit of blame here. They are also misleading Americans about this issue. Let's take CNBC here for an example. And also, I don't want to be seen as purely bullying CNBC. There are plenty of other news channels where this example applies. CNBC posted this news segment where they do admit 4 out of 10 jobs posted are ghost jobs. But then a month later they'll post another news segment where they are boasting about the robust jobs market. For example, in October it was 200,000 jobs was the number in that particular segment. They're now starting to add these little interviews at the end of these segments where they ask, why are Americans feeling negatively about the job market? They'll give their reasons, and I'm just sitting here thinking, well, you answered your question in the previous segment that you posted a month before. Perhaps if the Democrats ran on a much more aggressive message aimed at empowering workers, the outcome of this election would have been different. Remember earlier in this video when I mentioned Biden and his lack of attention to the direction the political winds are blowing regarding the labor market? You could apply the same rule to his replacement, Kamala Harris. If anyone that watches this video can actually find anything about Harris or Biden mentioning anything about how they are going to address these issues, then please post a link below in the comments, because I failed to see or hear anything from either of them about how they plan to address these issues. And I don't want to be seen as harping on only the Democratic Party either. The slippery, evasive Donald Trump should also face questions on how he plans to tackle current 2020's labor market struggles, especially since he is actually going to be president for the rest of this decade, basically. Not to mention, he owns his own businesses. Who knows what kind of hiring practices his businesses partake in? Hell, how each candidate's campaign carries out its own hiring practices would be interesting to find out as well. Now that we have looked at some of the issues that are present, what could be some solutions to these issues? The first obvious solution many people come to is simply to make ghost jobs illegal. Perhaps limit how long a specific job application may be up on a job search platform, and resume farming needs to be curtailed. Employers should only keep resumes on file for 30 days. Not only is this just frustrating to job seekers, how do job seekers know if some random company they quick applied to in the past is actually storing whatever information on that resume safely and securely? That company could be part of a large cyber attack, and through no fault of your own, your data may have been accidentally leaked. The government needs to step in to protect individuals' personal data. Soon, we as a society will have to lay precedent for legislation that will regulate the relationship between labor and AI in the future. There needs to be worker protections against AI. Guarantee that if a job is replaced by automation and it's clear that it indeed was, the worker is entitled to receive severance for 3 months or receive funding for job training in another occupation. We just recently had the National Longshoremen strike, and one of the primary concerns at the bargaining table was these longshoremen's jobs being replaced by AI. That strike was the beginning of a trend that we will see accelerate in the near future. Something also needs to be done about the excessive amount of interviews that some organizations put prospective employees through. The government should limit the number of interviews to a maximum of 3. I don't see why there should be a need for any more than that. What, if anything, has been done to address these issues? Have any of the proposed solutions previously mentioned been implemented? What do other national governments, or what have state and local governments done to tackle these issues? Well, in my brief research, there have been several governments actively trying to address these concerns. In the summer of 2024, Ontario, Canada recently passed legislation combating the practice of ghost jobs. The legislation will amend the Employee Standards Act from the article from WorkWolf. The proposed ESA amendments will mandate larger employers to provide application status updates to interviewed job seekers. They must also disclose in publicly advertised job postings whether a position is currently available or intended to build future candidate pipelines. Basically, I think this legislation is seeking to get employees more informed. South of the border in the States, New Jersey also passed a similar bill targeting ghost jobs. On Inc.com, the site mentions that the bill includes language such as disclose in the job posting whether or not there is an actual vacancy, effectively banning ghost jobs. The other bullets include job postings which give an estimated time frame for when the position is to be filled. Job postings must be taken down within 2 weeks after the position is filled. If the company knows that a third party has posted the job, it must notify the third party to take it down as well. If the company interviews a candidate, they must follow up with the candidate within the listed time frame to say whether the position is filled or not. If the position has not been filled within the time frame, the company must tell the candidate who have been interviewed if they are still under consideration. I also briefly looked to see if anywhere else has already passed any labor laws similar to these in the land down under. From what I've been able to find, Australian law states it's illegal under the Australian consumer law to post misleading job postings. Now, from the various blogs and threads on the internet, actually enforcing these laws can present several challenges. How can these laws be adequately enforced? Do there need to be fines or some other type of penalties? Legislatures around the globe in the future will have to figure out how to properly enforce laws like these in order to satisfy voters. As I was researching, I found this Reddit post that I thought fit perfectly into this video. The author asked an AI program to write out federal anti-ghost job legislation, and this is the result. If you truly feel passionate about this topic, research if your state, province, locality allows propositions and how to go about getting one started. Most states that allow propositions usually allow the group to post what they wish to get legalized onto a state website, where it will collect signatures to reach that required threshold to appear on a future ballot. I will say that generally, I believe the laissez-faire system of capitalism works best because more often than not, government bureaucracy can make things worse. However, I believe there are examples that exist of government intervention benefiting the lives of average citizens. Basic things such as minimum wage and safety protection. Who's to say that legislation tackling the current issues that exist in the labor market today are any different than those baseline labor laws? After viewing so many rant videos online, I decided to make a rant video of my own. Currently, I've been job searching since May of 2022. That's basically a few months after I graduated college. I've been employed most of the time, thankfully. However, I am a member of the large group of college graduates who are underemployed. And right now, I'm just still trying to look for that lucrative job that I feel offers good benefits and pay. Plus, I hope that I can make a career out of. I'm currently working construction and it pays the bills. But there are several issues with this job, and I am just looking for something that doesn't have those issues or offers better compensation. I'll probably make a video on it in the future. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you for tuning in, and as always, have a blessed day.